Well, I was working in my office in the basement, and just a huge, loud explosion.
Now at 10, a man rushed to the hospital after an explosion in Layton. What he was doing at the time it happened.
Plus, parents and community members lining the streets before a school board meeting tonight. Heated moments exchanged inside. The latest from a Granite School Board meeting.
And we're just hours away from heat advisories going into effect throughout the state. We're there for you with how high the mercury rises and when to expect some relief in Utah's most accurate forecast.
A deadly shooting in Kearns and the search for suspects comes to a close. It's where we begin tonight at 10. I'm Glenn Mills.
And I'm Emily Flores. One person is dead tonight. An investigation underway. Now, that fatal shooting happening at North Park, this near West Ridgestone Drive and Impressions Drive.
ABC4's Jillian Smuckler been gathering the latest details for us tonight. She's live at the scene. Jillian, what do you know?
Well, Emily, Glenn, we actually just got brand new information, and for more on that, we're going to go live with Sergeant Melody Cutler with the Unified Police Department. So, Sergeant, what can you tell us at this time about what happened?
So we had a male in his early 20s. He was driving down Impressions Drive when he stopped, and he was approached by two males. There was gunfire exchanged. The male in that truck was struck by gunfire. His vehicle rolled into the park. He is deceased. Those other two males fled from the scene, but we have since taken both of them into custody as well as recovered a firearm.
Okay, and so I know multiple agencies are on scene, and there were canines here. Who found the suspects? Where were they found? What information do you have on that?
Yeah, the great news, this is one of the great purposes for those canine dogs, is that they were able to track people very quickly and rapidly, and that's why we were able to find both suspects as well as that firearm, as they're able to search for that evidence as well.
Alrighty, and so in that white truck, which is behind us here, I'm not sure if you guys can see, but they currently have this entire street blocked off. That young man was in his early 20s, is that right? And he's dead in that truck right now.
That is correct.
Okay, and so what do people in the area need to know if they're watching right now? Is there a threat at this time? Did the people involved know the suspect? What's the relation there?
So we're not 100% sure what the relationship was, but we do believe that this was targeted, that they were somehow known to one another. So we don't believe the community is at any danger right now or any need for concern.
Okay, and as far as why that truck is up on that park, the truck rolled a couple 100 feet there, right?
That is correct, yes, rolled right into that park.
Okay, so what's next? I know it's very early on in the investigation. What do people need to know?
Yeah, we have a lot of interviews to do. There were multiple witnesses here who witnessed what happened, as well as those suspects need to be interviewed as well. And then this scene needs to be processed by our forensics team. So we will be here for several hours.
Okay, and those suspects, they're believed to be juveniles.
That is correct, yes.
One of them was found in a home in the area, and one was just around here.
Yes, that is correct.
Alrighty, well, thank you so much for your time. And as she said, the investigation is very early on, but of course we'll bring you the latest information as we receive it, both online and on air at ABC4.com. Reporting live in Kearns, Jillian Smuckler, ABC4 News.
All right, thank you so much, Jillian. In Davis County now, one man is recovering in the hospital following an explosion in Layton.
This all happened just before 5 near 1250 South Lisa Street. ABC4's Jason Wynn is live from the scene tonight. Jason, what was the man doing that caused the explosion?
Well, Glenn, investigators say the 77-year-old man was welding a bench that usually sits in his front yard just past this light here where this officer is walking behind me. And it was at some point in time, and we just learned this in the last 10 minutes, one of those sparks from when he was welding the bench flew over into a gunpowder pile that the man had inside of his garage, causing the explosion that we heard just before 5 o'clock.
Just before dinner time Tuesday,
there was a loud bang.
Tom Raithke tells us there was a lot of confusion.
You just feel the concussion right through you. Actually, my ears were ringing after a while from that.
His wife, Kim, was inside their house.
It shook the window in my office and enough that it startled me.
When she came out to check on the family, she saw smoke.
That's what caught my attention when I first walked out on our deck, was the smoke going up into the air.
Looking across the street, she says several neighbors rushed to the man's aid.
As the police were arriving, he kind of collapsed onto a neighbor's front yard, and then they were helping him try to get it back up on the bench, but I think it was too hard for him.
Then first arriving officers told the Raithkes to evacuate their home.
They thought it was a bomb and that we had to evacuate.
The Raithkes say they know the man by all of his hard work tuning up cars.
He restores cars, and I'm a big Mustang fan, and he was restoring his Mustang, and apparently the whole back of the car exploded.
Police say the cause of the explosion is under investigation with the Davis County Sheriff's Office bomb squad, but it appears the man was welding a metal bench.
It's a horrible accident, and considering how loud that detonation was, I cannot imagine how seriously that guy may be injured. So I'm praying for him.
Now, investigators say they're going to leave here in a little bit. They've got a lot of paperwork to fill out, but this appears to be an accident. As far as that 77-year-old man, he was taken to a nearby hospital and then flown to the University of Utah to be treated for those burns. Investigators say that he is in critical, he had critical injuries to his body, so he's recovering from those tonight. And just like you just heard, a lot of these neighbors are praying for him this evening. I'm Jason Wynn, live in Layton, ABC4 News.
Thank you so much, Jason. Well, Utah is in for another round of potentially record-breaking heat. The excessive heat prompting weather warnings across the state tonight. The warmth has the potential to bring back-to-back triple-digit days in Salt Lake City on top of the several record-breaking days already recorded so far this year.
And on that note, we take a first look at the weather forecast.
Chief Meteorologist Alana Brophy tracking it all with the best of them. Alana.
Hi, friends. We have those clear skies out there, and that really allowed for temperatures to climb today, and we know that's going to continue. This is what it looked like over Salt Lake City. You can't find a cloud. High pressure in control, and that means business. That ridge building throughout the Great Basin, keeping moisture out of the state. Dry conditions. Notice that moisture just near Elko, pushing towards Idaho, but we stay quiet and dry. Let's look at those highs from today. We were close to 199 in Salt Lake. We hit 100 in Wendover, triple digits in Hanksville, Moab, Milford. Look at St. George at 109, and this is just the beginning. We really kick the heat into high gear as we head into tomorrow. Temperatures out there right now, keeping it very mild as we head into the overnight 80s, upper 80s at that in Salt Lake, still 102 in St. George. We don't get a tremendous amount of relief as we get through the overnight the next several days. High pressure really bringing in that above average warmth, and we've got warnings going into effect in just a matter of hours. I break them down and what you need to know coming up in my full forecast in just a few moments. Glenn, Emily, over to you.
All right, thanks so much, Lana. The Granite School District Board meeting drawing opposing groups ready to face off tonight.
Yes, attendees eager to make their voices heard about topics that were not even on the agenda. Parents and community members lined the streets before the meeting started, some waving American flags while others held signs claiming the district silences parents and teaches students to be racist. Attendees referencing critical race theory, which is a way of thinking about America's history through the lens of racism. And while it's currently not in the district's curriculum, it was the topic of discussion during the public comment portion of that meeting.
I come here today to talk to you about something that has gained a lot of ground in this country. Something that I feel is a threat to the basic principles of this nation is founded on. What I'm talking about is critical race theory.
CRT it defines who I am. And understanding the conversation behind CRT, that would make it so you would understand obstacles that I overcome and obstacles my friends overcome and my family and my children. Okay.
So 2 out of the 3 speakers chose to address why the theory should or should not be taught in schools. The last speaker using her 5 minutes to talk about the 11 parents who are now facing charges after disrupting a school board meeting back in May by shouting anti-mask sentiments.
I'm here to speak for the 11 mothers and fathers, but I'm a concerned mother of 7 who is upset with the way my son as well as my 11 friends have been treated.
ABC4 spoke with one of the individuals charged for disrupting that meeting. She says she is not allowed on district property, so she decided to stand on the sidewalk and make her voice heard to drivers instead of the board. A spokesperson with the district saying that they did enhance security for tonight's meeting, but ultimately did not need it.
A Magna woman in jail tonight facing murder charges in the death of her husband. It happened early this morning at 9145 Main Street in Magna. That's the couple's home and business address. 41-year-old Cynthia Vincent called police claiming she shot her husband, 57-year-old Michael Vincent, in self-defense. Paramedics attempting to revive the man but were unsuccessful. She claimed she was being assaulted by her husband at the time she shot him. However, Vincent was booked into jail on murder charges.
Currently, she is booked in the Salt Lake County Jail on murder. The district attorney's office will be the one that will make the final determination on what charges will be. If they believe that the case was self-defense, then that will be up to the district attorney's office ultimately.
Much more to come on this story. We will continue to follow it as it develops. You can find the very latest on air and online at ABC4.com.
And tonight, the latest in the murder investigation of a Sandy mother of four. Court documents revealing when 53-year-old Masako Kenley's body was found, she was buried beneath heavy layers of grass with a gunshot wound in the chest. Documents saying she was with the man arrested, William O'Reilly, the afternoon that she disappeared. In an interview with police, O'Reilly saying that he had taken Kenley's purse and one of her shoes and hid them in the trunk of his car. And tonight we're learning more about O'Reilly, the 75-year-old man from South Jordan, now a suspect in Kenley's death. ABC4 News spoke to neighbors who live just a few houses down from O'Reilly. One neighbor saying that she spoke to him just one time during his 5+ years of living in the neighborhood.
We were telling our status and where we lived, and he was a little evasive about where he'd come from and details about his family. So we just knew him as Bill.
Many neighbors telling ABC4 News that O'Reilly was a recluse and kept to himself most of the time. Court records do not indicate any past criminal charges.
Now to a drowning this afternoon in Salt Lake City. It happened at a condo complex at 640 Oakley Street. According to the complex website, it's a home to those 55 and older. At this time, details are limited on the victim, but we will continue to update this story on air and at ABC4.com.
And over the weekend, troopers were out in full force stopping DUI drivers amid the holiday weekend, as they usually are. From July 2nd to the 5th, troopers handled 71 DUI arrests, they say, 78 cases of people speeding faster than 100 miles per hour, 163 crashes with 1 fatality, and 5 alcohol-related crashes. Now, this compared to the same weekend last year. Troopers saying that they handled only 46 DUI arrests last year, 126 crashes with 1 fatality. Troopers tonight reminding Utahns that we are halfway through the 100 deadliest days in Utah. Wear your seatbelt and please slow down. And in a traffic alert this evening, lane closures in Taylorsville tonight after a portion of road started buckling from the heat out there. Now here's a live look of the area now. According to UDOT, 2 right lanes are currently closed on I-215. You see the lights flashing. This is west northbound at about 4,500 or 5,400 south, I should say. UDOT is on scene working to repair the road there. So far, it's unclear when those lanes will reopen.
Coming up, blazing new trails. Meet the first female patrol sergeant ever for the Summit County Sheriff's Office. That's tonight's Behind the Badge report.
And there's that live look outside at Salt Lake County from our doTERRA camera. Mostly clear skies and temperatures still in the upper 80s. This is just the beginning. Another heat wave targets the Beehive State when we can expect some relief in Utah's most accurate forecast.
Time now for Utah's most accurate forecast with Alana Brophy, Weather Rate certified 10 years in a row.
All right, people, it is so hot out there. The roads are buckling.
Yeah, that tells you a little something, right, Alana?
Well, that's just the appetizer, guys. We haven't even hit the heat just yet because we are ramping up. But yes, here we are in July with extreme heat making a comeback. A few clouds out there, but mostly clear skies. Really pretty shot there of the sunset. Scott Taylor caught that one over the Great Salt Lake tonight. In the weather world, we have a lot going on. The extreme heat coming on back. We're drying out statewide, so we're stepping away from those isolated thunderstorms. We've got to talk about fire concerns because when we get hot and dry and add a little wind, well, that's the formula we don't want to hear about. We've got a couple warnings going into effect tomorrow morning. I'm going to break those down. We're there for you if you've got outdoor plans. Our Southern Utah University network camera there at the Cedar City Airport catches the sunset tonight, 9:02. Just really pretty to watch that little pop of color as the clouds are overhead there at the airport. Those clear skies allowed for our temperatures to really heat things up, and even at this hour, mostly clear really throughout the state. Not much in the way of cloud covers. That ridge of high pressure builds. We saw those clouds kind of push into southern Idaho, a few down there in Washington County, but not a lot going on, which means we'll see those temperatures staying fairly mild. Right now we're looking at 80s along the Wasatch Front, upper 80s in Salt Lake, 86 in Moab, still triple digits down there in St. George. As we head into the overnight, we don't get a tremendous amount of relief. We're going to stay in the 70s, and because of that, it's one of the criteria we see with those heat advisories. We've already dealt with 9 triple-digit days in Salt Lake City this year. Okay, that number's going up as we head into tomorrow, and that has actually doubled what we usually see in one season. So not good news there. All right, there's that heat advisory for the Wasatch Front. It also encompasses the West Desert, western Uinta Basin, down there near the San Rafael Swell, extended into Grand County and the Grand Staircase area. This is in effect through Thursday. Then we get a dry cold front coming through on Friday for the north. Different story down south, excessive heat warning near Lake Powell, as well as their in Washington County. That does include Zion. This holds until Sunday. Give you an idea that they don't get much relief in the southern half of the state as we get through the week. Clear skies into tonight. That high on the move. Couple clouds over the mountains as we head into tomorrow. Our warnings go into effect. Dangerous heat takes over, and you've got to make sure to be careful and limit your time outdoors. The positioning of the high by Thursday will allow for a little bit of moisture over the mountains, so a dry thunderstorm potential is there, but not a tremendous amount. It will also be extremely hot, and then we change things with the winds picking up on Friday ahead of the dry front. We see the Wasatch and Uintas with a fire weather watch, so a heads up there. We know that's coming. Triple digits tomorrow, 106 in Moab, 111 in St. George, 95 in Castle Country Delta, going 102. As you look at these numbers in St. George, you get record-breaking heat, and it's not a surprise. We have that excessive heat warning holding 113 on Saturday. It's going to be brutal. Be careful down there. Here's the Wasatch Front. Our triple digits hold through Thursday. The front comes through Friday. We slightly cool down to the upper 90s. Wait a minute, that's not a cool down. Triple digits come back right after that as we close out the weekend. Find ways to keep cool. Emily, Glenn, over to you.
Behind the Badge, brought to you by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Latest promotion in the Summit County Sheriff's Office made history, or should we say her story?
Ooh, Felicia Sotelo is the first female patrol sergeant in the agency's 160-year history. ABC4's Rick Aaron introduces us to her in tonight's Behind the Badge report.
Sotelo tells me she originally wanted to be an attorney, but ended up in a uniform instead of an office, and she has never looked back. The Summit County Sheriff's Office never had a female patrol sergeant, but then again, up until 7 years ago, they never had a Felicia Sotelo. She has made her mark as a deputy, a drug court coordinator, an honor guard member, the Elks Club Deputy of the Year for 2019, and now the new title of sergeant.
I think it's really cool, and I think it's really great for women who are looking at law enforcement or who want to become law enforcement officers to see that, you know, it's possible. It's not out of the reach.
The wife, mother of 2, and stepmom of 2 others says it's not easy, especially with the long hours.
I think one of the biggest challenges is just balancing my career with my family life. You know, I have kids, I have a husband. I think juggling the kid portion and, you know, making sure that they have everything that they need, especially if I'm going to be on graveyards or something like that, has definitely been a challenge.
You know, I don't see the mom. I see a very capable supervisor. I see a leader, the future of the Summit County Sheriff's Office. I see somebody that is poised to take on this role and do it with compassion, but yet have the respect of the deputies that she's leading.
For Sergeant Sotelo, the job is all about the people she encounters.
I really like connecting with the community that I live in. I mean, I live here, I work here, and so I see people that I know all the time.
All right, sir, here's your license back. So I'm not going to give you a ticket. You need to get it registered.
And being able to help humanize law enforcement really means a lot. So when I see people in the community, I want to be that approachable law enforcement officer. I want them to be able to come and talk to me whether I'm in uniform or not.
While we're recording, Sergeant Sotelo pulls over a driver on Highway 40. She approaches the car with caution because there's no such thing as a routine traffic stop. She recalls 1 year ago around 3 in the morning that seemed normal until she discovered the driver had a warrant.
And I'm sitting in my car waiting for my backup officer to arrive, and I hear what sounds like a gun racking. Right, like a pistol slide racking. My windows are up. Okay, it's cold. It's super late, and I hear this sound, and I'm looking around, and it was really weird. So I waited.
Smart move, because after they took the man into custody, she learned her ears were right.
He had a loaded handgun right here in his seat, and so I feel like there's definitely some higher power reaching out then, because that sticks with me still to this day.
In her new role, Sergeant Sotelo will oversee a crew of 5 deputies and handle the county's biggest cases like major assaults and death investigations. In addition to all that, she's also a crisis negotiator, a firearms instructor, and get this, an FAA-licensed drone pilot. For Behind the Badge, I'm Rick Aaron, ABC4 News.
All right, I guess we'd have to ask, is there anything she doesn't do?
Exactly.
Right? Pretty
Wow.
amazing. All right, time now for sports and Dana Green.
What a fun way to start the series, Dana.
Yeah, not a bad game 1 of the NBA Finals. It's in the books. We're going to show you how hot the Suns got. Plus, Utah native Jake Gibb is about to set Olympic history. See what I did there? We're going to have the sports story next in sports.
Time now for ABC4 News Sports with Dana Green.
Well, this is what you want in an NBA Finals. Both teams at full strength. Two-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo back in the lineup for the Milwaukee Bucks after suffering a knee injury. Giannis was a game-time decision. Played 35 minutes, went for 20 points and 17 rebounds against the Suns. But after a scoreless first quarter, Chris Paul went nuts. Hits the three, Phoenix by 8 at the half. Third quarter, DeAndre Ayton dominating the boards. 22 points, 19 rebounds, and Paul just taking over. In his first finals game in his 16-year career, CP3 went for 32 points, 9 assists. Suns up 20, but Milwaukee comes back. Bryn Forbes with the three ball. This is a 7-point game in the fourth, but the Suns finish strong. Devin Booker, 27 points, and then it's Paul with the dagger three-point play. The final 118-105. Game 2, Thursday night, right here on ABC4.
I just kept trying to be aggressive. My guys got going, and campaign and all the coaches been talking about us playing with pace. I'm the old head that like to slow it down sometimes, but in this series, we got to play with pace. We've been building all season long for these moments. We're going to keep playing. It's just one game. Got to stay locked in.
Age is just a number. Just ask former Bountiful High and University of Utah grad Jake Gibb, who at 45 years old is about to become the oldest Olympic volleyball player ever. After his third Olympic Games in Rio, Jake Gibb thought that was it.
I thought I was done. So I was going to play one more year. I had kind of this idea that I was going to play with this new young partner, kind of show him the ropes, and then just kind of ride off into the sunset.
But just one problem. Gibb and his new partner, Taylor Crabb, who is 16 years younger than Gibb, kept winning.
I've always said that I wanted to retire as soon as I feel like I can't win anymore. And we kept winning. I was like, man, can I... All of a sudden, then COVID happens. All of a sudden, I'm 45 years old going to the Olympics.
Breaking the record as the oldest Olympic volleyball player ever, indoor or beach, is a mantle Gibb embraces.
I'm very proud of it, but I never think about it. So, I mean, I think about it when you ask me that, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that is cool. But like, I never think about it on the court. I look at it as not only experience. I'm 45. I've been put in almost every situation out there. So there's a big advantage there.
You wouldn't think a kid from Bountiful would grow up to become one of America's greatest beach volleyball players ever, and he still gets questions about it.
Before I moved out to California, I was the #1 beach volleyball player in Utah, which is like being the best snow skier in Hawaii. It's maybe not something that you want to go around bragging about.
Gibb can brag about having beaten cancer twice, and he's become an inspiration to other cancer survivors.
2-time cancer survivor, which is crazy to talk about, but it's not something I think about that often, if I'm 100% honest with you. Don't get me wrong, I'm very vigilant with my checkups, and I'm on top of everything there, but it doesn't play a big role anymore.
And while he may be getting old, walking in the Olympic opening ceremonies never does.
I'm so excited for it, especially because I'm going through with a new coach and a new partner. And that to me is a new team. It has a new feel, new energy. We did it. We got here. We're in the Olympics. Like, it's a really special moment to share.
He is just incredible. I mean, a miracle in nature, really. Beach volleyball is such a physically demanding sport played by 20 and 30-year-olds. Here he is, 45, representing his country at the Olympics for a fourth time. It'll be his fourth Olympics.
Pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing.
Hey, Dana, back to your set joke.
Yes.
Now it's time to bump you from the show.
Oh, wow. Spike. I can feel it right there.
Oh, my gosh.
I got Spalding across my forehead here. Or Wilson, I should say. Yeah.
That's all the time we have tonight. Thanks for being here with us.
Good night.